And then we have the Giants, who this is a team that is not a friend of the show. Um, Unlike most teams on this show, they are annual recipients of the worst thing to be on the Brickyard, which is on the worst top five, perennial top five losers. Um, well, Daniel Jones will be back at the helm after his injury. They went and drafted Malik Neighbors, who had a bet with another rookie wide receiver to have the offensive rookie of the year. And then he rescinded his bet after his first training camp with Daniel Jones. Ironic, you decide.
Darren Waller retires.
Darren Waller retires after releasing one of the worst music videos of all time. And they traded for Brian Burns. So that's been their big Giants offseason. Do I think their defense will be good? Yes. Do I think their offense will be good? No. I don't. They also lost Saquon Barkley, who went to the Eagles.
Yeah, and he was like, I don't know, when you watch the playoff game versus the Minnesota Vikings, what did they do outside of throwing the ball to Saquon Barkley, whether it be running the ball with him or whether it just be him running those short routes and getting first down here, first down here? You're like, oh, wait a minute. They didn't do anything else outside of Saquon Barkley. And then they're in a situation like the Carolina Panthers where they're like, we're bad. We're fine on defense, so let's get better on defense. But we're also mediocre on offense, so let's offset that and get way worse on offense.
Yeah, they did almost like that DJ Moore trade, but without getting anything back in return. They're like, let's just let Saquon walk. We'll just let him walk. He's been great for us, but let's just let him go. He's been great, but we're over it now. Let's take in Devin Singletary. He'll be the one to fill in the shoes for him.
Yeah, and see him twice a year. That's the worst part. He's in your division, and he's like, I don't know. How far is Philadelphia from East Rutherford? Like
2 hours, 3 hours?
Yeah, 3 hours with traffic, maybe 4.
Not even. Yeah. So he's pretty much just like 2 hours away now.
Yeah, so I guess that's a good place to start. We can start with the New York Football Giants. Let me go ahead and get their schedule pulled up, but anything else you want to talk about the Giants while I'm pulling up that schedule related to either Brian Daboll, their defense, or how much worse can they actually get?
Yeah, so let's remember 2 years ago, they were 9-7-1. They were a lot of lucky breaks. They won 7 close games, which years prior they didn't come close to at that point. Do I think that they can do the same thing this year? No. However, I do think their defense will be top 12 defense. They have Brian Burns. They have Kayvon Thibodeau. They have Bobby Okereke, friend of the show. Okereke on the show. But I don't love their secondary. They have Deontay Banks, who's fine, but otherwise not a big fan of their defense secondary. So I think they'll be able to stop the run well, but as far as putting points on the board, I'm not super enthusiastic. So this team should be the worst team in this division.
Okay. Yeah, so let's go ahead and go through that division because they have, honestly, a very weird schedule to start it out. Starting with week 1, they play the Vikings without Kirk Cousins at 1 o'clock at home in East Rutherford.
I'm going to take the Vikings to win that game here. And I will say, when we go through the divisions, I don't think they get a win against the Eagles or the Cowboys, but I do think they win some games against the Commanders.
Yeah, probably split there. And then the very next game, they play the Commanders, and we don't know who the quarterback is going to be at that point. Is it going to be Jaden McDaniels at that point?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be I'm trying to remember who they put in for them here, but I'll take the Giants to win. It's early. They have some momentum. Typically, these bad teams will perform well beginning of the season, so I'll get them a win against the Commanders.
All right, and then after that, they go to Cleveland at 1 o'clock. Yikes.
Cleveland's a tough game. This could be a really gritty game. Low teens, potentially. I'll take the Browns to win it, though. I like the coaching advantage for Kevin Stefanski.
Low teens? How about single digits?
12 to 9.
Honestly. The Browns will still be healthy at that point. And then after that, the Cowboys, looks like this is a Thursday night game, come to East Rutherford, New Jersey.
If there's one thing I know about the Cowboys, they love beating up on bad teams. And on primetime, I think this is where we see a big game from the Cowboys. So giving them a win there.
All right. And then suddenly the Giants are like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have let our best weapon walk because we've scored 13 points in every single game with Daniel Jones without Darren Waller and Saquon Barkley. And then after getting beat down at home by the Cowboys, they have to go to Seattle.
Ooh, yeah. And I just, Seattle, they're a better team. I mean, I know they have a new coach, and there might be some struggles there, but I think the Seahawks should be able to beat them.
Yeah, good defense, and then DK Metcalf, I'll take him alone to beat the Giants. And then after that, it's October now. This isn't your September Cincinnati Bengals. They have to play them on Sunday Night Football.
Sunday Night Football, Joe Burrow. Um, I'm not going to bet against Joe Burrow, second best quarterback in the league. I'm good with that.
All right, so Giants are 1-5. As
Yep.
some of you may have expected, some of you may be furious, but the majority of you, you're probably like, yeah, that makes sense. And then after that, they finish off a 2-game homestand against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, and this is a revenge game for Saquon Barkley, who's been trying to get paid for 3 years now. He's facing his former team. He's going to go up against Kayvon Thibodeau and Bobby Okereke, and I just don't think they have the boys and clientele to stop him. Give me the Eagles.
How many yards? Like 200?
I think a minimum of 100 and then a couple of receiving yards as well.
Yeah, I could see him like having like
Like a
180 total yards in this game.
Yeah, good year for fantasy for him.
And then after that, they go to Pittsburgh, and it's not getting any easier. Do you want Daniel Jones or Russell Wilson? Who knows?
I mean,
It's a Monday night.
Monday night, this is a winnable game for them, but at the same time, I just don't see. I think Russell Wilson will be better in Pittsburgh than he was in Denver. I'll take the Steelers in this game.
All right, and going off to a 1-7 start. After that, well, they beat the Commanders the first time, and you thought potentially they'd split. It's November now. Jane McDaniels is getting into the fold, and he might be Daniel Jones, who actually can get the ball to his receivers. So do you still think the Giants split with the Commanders?
Well, they actually have dominated. They have actually done pretty well against the Commanders historically. Over the last 5 years, they are 7-2 against them. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so they actually kind of own the Commanders. I'm actually going to take them to beat the Commanders twice.
Okay. And then after that, we have potentially the worst game of the year. Daniel Jones taking on Bryce Young in Carolina. Oh, no, it's in London. Cat
Lo-
teams do well in London.
Cat teams do want to in London. However, the Giants at this point, Brian Daboll, not only has he lost his hair, not only has he lost his eyebrows, but he no longer has a beard. He is officially bald from head to toe. At this point, he has to win a game. I think in London, those Brits, they're going to be like, Daniel Jones, the best in the business. I think they actually get the win.
Oi, Daniel.
Oh, Daniel. What a great football player, is what
Yeah.
they'll say.
Yeah, I mean, everyone in England has the same IQ, so I guess that makes sense. And then after that, they come back home after a bye week versus Baker Money Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah, well, guess what? They ain't in London anymore. I think between Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield alone, they get the dub.
Do you think Brian Daboll just resigns and he's like, actually, I want to go back to coaching Josh Allen?
Yeah, maybe. He might even take over the Bills' job if the Bills don't do well this upcoming season, potentially.
Yeah, Josh McDaniels style with the Patriots, which was supposed to be the plan. So I could see that happening, actually. And then after that, Cowboys again, like beating up on bad teams. Looks like this is a Thanksgiving game at 4:30, November 28th
Yeah, no.
in Dallas.
Yep, and just like Americans to the Pilgrims, it will not go well for the Giants.
And then after that, the Giants host Taysom Hill and the New Orleans Saints. Look out.
Ooh, well, I'll be nice to the Giants here. I'll let them win this game.
You'll let them win.
I'm looking at what's their record right now.
4-9 if they beat the Saints.
Nah, never mind. They're 3-10.
They're 3-10.
I was too nice. The Saints, we were mean to them in the preview, but I do think that the Saints will be better than the Giants.
Yeah. And then after that, they host the Ravens in a back-to-back home game, Stan.
Can they stop Derrick Henry alone is the question. And then they also have to think of Lamar. No.
All right. 3-11 now, going to Atlanta, and bad news. It's at 1 o'clock.
No chance. And I think, is that at home for the Falcons?
Yeah.
Yeah, at home, 1 o'clock. Kirk Cousins, we're not betting against him.
And then they, in a to-be-determined game, they host the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, the Colts, they'll probably be contending for a wild card at this point. I don't like their chances there.
All right. And then after that, they go to Philadelphia, where we've seen Gardner Minshew light up the Giants on his own.
Yeah, and the Eagles have also owned the Giants the last few years. So give me the Eagles to beat the Giants here. And what's their final record there?
3-14.